Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I have Marian here with Procesio. And without further ado, we'd love if you could introduce what you guys are doing over there and tell us more about your company.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Thank you for having me and for inviting me to your lovely Nacho Tuesday. Okay, so a bit about Procesio. What Procesio does? So Procesio democratizes the access to enterprise automation and integration technology, and that sounds fancy, right? But basically, it's a visual software development and execution environment suited for automation and integration. That's it.
Yep. Sounds pretty nice. Yeah, a lot of companies can't really afford a lot of those enterprise tools. So it's nice that you guys are kind of bringing it down to their level. What would you say your ideal customer profile would be?
It depends on the context. So there is not just one ideal customer profile. When you are discussing with an enterprise, it's a business person that has some needs. Actually, a business person do not care about your products, about your technology. They care about their needs. So you need to address their needs, not speak about your other technology. So that's one ICP. But also Procesio move towards community, towards product, and then it's like a technical person. So Procesio, it's also low code and no code and full code. You have a mix of approaches to deliver automations. But I would say that it's a bit technical. So to use it at its most, you should be a bit technical as a mindset. Not necessarily to be a programmer. It will help, but you should understand how software works, how system works, how data flows between systems. Or you can be like a business technologist. You are not a programmer, but you are a business person, but understand the technical aspects. That's for building automation. But we also move towards let's say low code application development, and we have just released an amazing forms and task designer that can be used by non-technical people to build complex approval flows, and that's magic. And also augmenting it with a technical mindset, you will bring processes to it and build like complex automation.
Very cool.
How does it sound?
Sounds simple enough for guys like me to use.
It might be, and it should be. Not sure how technical are you, but for sure the part for forms and tasks will be easier for everybody. The process side, you should be technical as a mindset.
Very good. Okay. I'll have to call Alan about that one. Just kidding. So what got you to where you're at in your career? How'd you get started down this path of automation? We'd love to hear your backstory and how you came to start Procesio.
Okay, a bit of backstory about myself. So I might say that I evolved from a mix of creative and technical expertise around digital products, digital experiences. On top of that, I've added, let's say, some leadership experiences, some entrepreneurial experiences. Down the road, I got married with an amazing wife that gave me a daughter, a crazy daughter.
And gave you processes.
Exactly so. And now I'm co-founder and deputy CEO at Procesio.
Very nice.
Regarding Procesio, how Procesio starts, that's interesting. So, as most of the co-founder out there, the story with Procesio is similar. It started from the parent company context, their needs. We research. Actually, I will tell you the context. So, our parent company needed a way to deliver faster, let's say, adapt changes to new regulations, to move faster to new country regulations, to externalize processes, and that was challenging because it takes time to deliver software. It takes time to make process more efficient, and we started to search for a way to configure software rather than customize everything. And by doing so, we started to make research, global research. We figured out that that was not just our need. All the companies out there need a way to deliver faster and to make processes more efficient, right? So by doing so, we said, hey, let's build technology that can be used by every company out there to make processes more efficient.
Mm.
So that was the inception of Procesio.
Very cool. So, I guess what automation tools and processes should businesses be aware of in 2024?
Of course, there are a lot of tools out there, but I would rather focus on understanding the context. Prior to any tools, I recommend companies to understand their context. So make an internal analysis, understand your context, define your processes, and after you understood your context, search for tools. And tools you will find, but you need to find the tools that fits your context, right? So it should be like tailored on your context. Okay, of course, you might have KPIs when you are looking for tools. So you need tools that can help you deliver faster in this context, tools that can be easy used by your existing capacity, like say technical capacity. Do you have internal team that can deliver automation or software or not? You should can you externalize that work to someone else? Let's say when if I would be in a company situation to choose for a tool, because right now we have our Procesio and we used to automate our internal processes, but if I wouldn't have it, I would look for a tool that has a community around it, so I can bring help from that community, or even externalize some of our work. Or even better, I will look for a vendor that also offer, let's say, professional services, right? So if I'm an enterprise company, I will choose a vendor that can also do the job for me with the technology. So I provided guidelines about how to choose tools, because tools, there are a lot of tools, but you need to find the proper one for you.
Perfect. So what's a lot of people might be worried about quality and losing out on the customer experience, right? So in a world of automation, it's becoming, so easy for people to just to automate everything, but we're lacking that personalization in a lot of ways. What are your thoughts on how companies can roll out automation without sacrificing on quality in their operations, and most importantly, that customer experience that they deliver to their customers?
To be honest, there will always be like a compromise. Companies will make and should make compromises, because there is that time.
Mhm.
You need to be in time in the market, right? And I would say, and that's the case, because it will be in vain to work a lot in a perfect product solution, whatever, but to deliver it when it will not be needed.
Yeah.
So it will. I say that it's a mix. So back to internal analysis, you should understand your context and choose the compromises that it suited your context, even though it will be, let's say, hey, let's deliver this capacity or this feature with less capabilities, but at least put it in the market, take feedback from the community, and improve. But also you need a way to deliver fast. That's the new norm. You need to deliver faster. And here comes tools and processes that you might have at hand. So it will not be easy to focus only on one thing, not just deliver faster or focusing on having the perfect experience, because there will be no such way, right? You need to balance it.
That makes sense. There's going to be a lot of
So
trade-offs there.
processes, right? So internal processes analysis.
Yep. Yeah, it all starts with your foundation. So I guess with that in mind, what are your automation predictions for 2024? You just mentioned that things are moving really fast, and I definitely agree. The speed of business today is faster than it's ever been before, and it's going to continue to speed up from here. So with that in mind, automation is going to play a big role in 2024. So what are your predictions going forward, and what strategies do you think will gain more traction?
Um, I will stick to what I've been keeping saying, and you might notice that proper analysis.
Yeah.
So, of course, strategies but you need proper analysis. And I noticed in the last couple of fields that some companies forgot to make proper analysis of their context. And I predict that they will start doing that more and more. Why? Because now we have AIs, and
Mhm.
to use AIs in our internal processes without a better analysis, it might do more harm than good.
Yep.
So I predict that companies will focus more on understanding processes, making analysis. Let's say they will start to allocate resources towards teams, internal teams that can be starting small with one engineer, automation engineer, or the analyst, an automation analyst, or bigger companies might invest more in center of excellence related to automation and AI stuff.
Yep.
Uh, but that's the trend that we've been seeing for, let's say, at least 4 years and will continue. But it's a bit accelerated with this AI new norm
Mhm.
that we should take with a bit of grain of salt, because it's a technology, it's a good one, but we should first learn how to use it.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good crawl, walk, run. So I guess how does AI play into automation in 2024? Since you touched on it, I mean, obviously it's going to be a key component there.
Of course, AI, it was and it is used more and more. Now it's like a new norm. It was like a buzz
Yeah.
last year, but now it's a new norm. Companies are starting to build processes that incorporate AI. And this is how I see AI fitting companies, mostly enterprise, but also small, medium companies around processes. So building still building processes first that can incorporate use of AI, because AI is powerful, but as any tool can be
Mhm.
used also for good and for harm depending on the intent.
Yep.
Um, you might want to be like an orchestrator that used AI technologies, and this is how I'm seeing things. So AI, it's amazing, but let's not use it for everything.
Yep.
First, choose the right AI and process to automate using AI.
So do you see it more as like a feature? I know a lot of companies are launching with AI, and you're like, well, that's kind of a feature of QuickBooks potentially, or some other company that's already existing. Do you see it in a lot of cases as kind of just a feature that companies need to adopt into their product and their processes, as opposed to building an entirely new company?
Not sure. It depends. So I'm seeing a lot of, let's say, startup and products that are building AI for everything.
Yep.
But when you are speaking about enterprise context, where I'm more familiar, it's not that easy. You need to have, let's say, processes in place. You need to understand how to use that AI. So AI for everything is not just a good approach, I would say.
Yep.
And also, I do not, and we do not brag that we have AI with Procesio, because we don't need it. Procesio is an
Mhm.
orchestrator, so it's better for us to be an orchestrator of AI. So by being an integration on an automation platform, we can tap into any AI, feed with data, take data, and automate processes.
Yep.
And it's worked like a charm for us. We do not need to say, "Hey, we've built this AI." No, why? It will be like a vanity metric. We don't need that now. Of course, AI will play a role in the future of Procesio, because there is not the future without AI, as we
Yep.
might notice, but not for now.
Got it. And I guess what other problems do you foresee with automation and AI, especially for the companies that aren't doing the analysis and planning up front before they plan on rolling out these processes? Do you foresee any other problems?
Okay, well, problems, of course, problems can be even with AI or other tech if you are trying to incorporate without a proper analysis, internal analysis. I'm keeping on saying that
Yep.
because it's the most important aspect. Make a good analysis of your internal processes and tap into AI afterwards,
Yep. Yeah.
right?
So what do you think are the possible negative outcomes there if they don't do the analysis up front? which a lot of
Uh,
companies may do actually,
they
unfortunately.
will face the context of automating, making a beautiful automation for an inefficient thing. So
Yep.
it will be like an inefficient automation using AI
Yep. I'm sure there's a lot of those
without
floating around
value,
these days.
of course.
Um, do you predict any other governance or standardization around AI? That's kind of a big buzz right now too, because AI, like you mentioned, it was really a buzzword over the last few years. But this year, with OpenAI coming out and a lot of other tools, AI really became an actual thing. So a lot of people are talking about governance and standardization. So what are your thoughts on that?
Of course, you need to have standardizations and regulation with AI, like with any other tech out there, right? And we all are seeing how governments are playing in this regulation aspect. In Europe, in EU, we already have AI Act, right? So we are a bit ahead, as I research. Not sure in US how much progress there is, but I didn't see too much. You might tell me
The
how it
EU is
is
a
with
little
AI.
further ahead always. That's
Yes,
good.
in US is like a fertile ground for the AI innovation.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's more regulated, but it's okay to have regulation with these powerful tools that can be used with bad intent and do harm, right? So you need regulation.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Yeah, it tends to, from a regulation standpoint, the EU always seems to be a little ahead of the US. I like to call ourselves maybe the Wild West out here. But sometimes, like we talked about earlier, you got to break things for innovation. So
Of
maybe
course,
there's some positive side.
US is like the promoter of AI with help of US. We all got now AI, right?
Yep.
So we need to have also that.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't break things too bad. But I guess so. Failure comes with any profession, right? Could you tell us about a time that you failed and what you learned from it?
Of course, of course. I might say that failure is like an engine for progress, right?
Yep.
And of course, I failed a lot in my career and my previous ventures. Um, I might say that I've learned that when you make strategies, you should take into consideration that things will take at least two times more than you expected,
Yeah.
and you will need at least two times more the resources than you expected,
I say
and
the same
adapt
thing.
accordingly.
I always say the same thing. It costs twice as much as you think, and it's going to take twice as much time. So don't get too over zealous, I guess.
Yes, you feel it, right? So with time, you start to understand things better and to adjust a bit. But to be honest, you will never know how much time it will take for things to happen, right?
Yeah.
Just be prepared for that.
Yeah, and you got to be patient, especially as an entrepreneur building a product. A lot of times those overnight successes people hear about have really been seeding themselves for several years, right? And then there might be like a switch in the feature of the product, or maybe enough like an inflection point with a certain amount of customers coming on board and word of mouth starting to really take off that they, really become those overnight successes. But it usually takes a few years that nobody ever hears about, like that product or company, and then all of a sudden one night everybody's talking about it. But yeah, nobody talks about the couple of years that led to that, the trials and errors that led to the final product that actually ended up working and taking off.
Exactly. So I don't believe on success overnight. And
Mhm.
as you said, nobody talks about those, let's say, 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years
Yeah,
prior to that success, right? So that's the case. It is a lot of work to put into a startup, a technology, a company.
yeah,
So only the people that are doing that knows about it.
yeah. You got to have the patience and treat it like a marathon rather than a race. So a lot of times it might not even be your first startup. Sometimes it's I've been an entrepreneur and off and on for about 20 years now, and I've seen a lot of guys that were working on 1, 2 products and they didn't go anywhere. Then all of a sudden their third product, everybody knows who they are and it takes off. But nobody knew about them for that decade prior when they were launching different startups, figuring out how to do it, failing the hard way, but learning the hard lessons that they needed to know how to do it better next time.
Exactly so. As you said, learning the skills needed to be in time next time.
Yep, exactly. When the moment's right. So I guess what are some of your favorite books that you would recommend to other, product managers or entrepreneurs out there that want to build a, great product or launch a company?
So I don't have things like favorite things. So I like to learn from everything, every time, everywhere. Like right now, I'm learning from you. But of
That's awesome.
course, and also the reading time is short nowadays. But I found a way. So I started to listening audiobooks, and that works for me
Yeah,
because reading time is less audio time. I found out that it's a bit more for me, and it
yeah,
works. What I've listened in 2023, I can recall now, let's say, 1,000 million offer from Alex Hormozy. So that's a good book for entrepreneurs to read and to try to experiment what they found there for their marketing approach. Also, I can recall the Challenger Sales,
yeah,
and why I like this book. The Challenger Sales, it's about not being a sales person that try to sell everything, but rather being like a consultant.
yeah,
So being a consultant, try to understand the context. As you might figure out, I'm speaking a lot about understanding the context, making analysis, and provide value for the person that might use your services or your products.
yeah,
So I like that. And also the book Think Fast and Slow.
yeah,
It's a good, let's say, parallel between taking intuitive decisions and making analysis and to know how to balance those. So I just named three
that's good.
books that I loved in 2023.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, sometimes you got to make decisions quickly, especially in a startup. The world, like we mentioned, the world's moving really fast, but also, which is easy for ADHD people like me. But you also have to stop and think about, especially really critical decisions sometimes, and do your analysis, like you mentioned earlier, to really make sure that you're making the right decision before you, choose to,
Yep.
go in one direction or not. I also like the challenger sale too. Like we mentioned earlier, people like to buy; they don't want to be sold, right? So a lot of times um, you know, product people or entrepreneurs are so, excited to sell their product that they're not listening to their customers and they're not really connecting with the customer problem and then working backwards from there to design a customer experience or even a product experience that meets those customers' needs, which ultimately they're the ones paying you money. So, you,
Exactly. So actually, we did the same mistake when we started to sell Procesio, and that's one of our failures in 2021 when we said, "Hey, we have an amazing technology. Let's sell it. Let's do business development." But we failed to do what we did when we started to develop Procesio. When we developed Procesio, we took a lot of time to make analysis, to make research, to validate the market prior to any line of code that was written. But when we went to business development, we failed to do that. We forgot to do that
yeah,
and went straight ahead to, hey, let's do business development and let's propose this awesome technology to people. But
everybody.
people do not want that. They have their own problems and needs, and we learned how to be a challenger and to be a consultant and learn from people and propose solution for their needs.
Yeah,
That was more suited and delivered faster with a technology like Procesio, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
A lot of times it
we
could be like
deliver
that
a lot.
one small thing that you could just switch, and all of a sudden it just changes the perception with the customer overnight.
Exactly so.
Perfect. So I guess what's one thing potential customers should know about Procesio and why they should choose you guys over maybe another automation platform out there?
If I will answer to this question, people will tend to not believe me because it comes from the owner, co-founder, is the deputy CEO of the technology. And I would prefer to recommend people to check our testimonials and feedback and reviews on Capterra and Product Hunt. By the way, we won Product of the Day on Product Hunt. We have a lot of amazing reviews and honest review from people out there. And those will be more helpful for others to understand and choose Procesio than me saying, hey, take Procesio, right? And also we have an amazing community on Discord. Just check and join our community, ask question, the community will help. If I will mention something, Procesio, it's a proven technology at enterprise level. As I said, we democratize enterprise automation and integration technology. So we started like that. We started like an enterprise technology. So it's proven on highly intense and regulated industries like energy, financial stuff. So it's proven enterprise. So that will help a lot.
Yeah, proven enterprise and made for companies, startups, and other companies that might not necessarily be able to afford or get their hands on such technology.
Of course, exactly so.
That's great. And I guess what's next for you guys over the next 5 years? What should we look forward to with Procesio?
So Procesio started with the vision and still have the vision to become a core productivity tool for any employee in organization to use to build software, application, automate processes. And we are building towards that. So we've started with the foundation, with the backbone, with the processes, added some UI stuff on that. We build our document designer. So UI, you build documents that you use in processes. Now we just released advanced forms and tasks. It's more than a form builder. It's a advanced forms and task builder that can be enhanced with process designer. And as you might notice, we are moving towards building any type of application with advanced UI builder. So that's next, let's say advanced UI builder. And we will see how we will use also AI in this part. But for 2024, it will be mostly about approval flows because we've noticed that at enterprise level and actually all of the other companies, they have some issues with approval flows. So we've built like a magic tool for that.
Oh, very cool. Well, we're excited to see you guys grow and excited to be a part of your community as well. Anybody interested in this product, we definitely recommend you check it out. Marian, thank you so much for coming on today. The product is available in the NachoNacho marketplace. Today we're doing a special, actually. Marian and I worked it out over the last 48 hours, but we'll do 80% off just for today only. So if you go to the NachoNacho marketplace, look up Procesio, and you can get 80% off today only on this great software product. So check it out today. NachoNacho is the best way to buy SaaS. Marian, once again, thank you so much for coming on today, and excited to see where a company goes from here.
Thank you for having me, and let's do that.
Awesome. Thank you, bud.
Thank you.